Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila and I love all things beauty, I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fan. Alright, you guys already saw from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be doing a first impressions video on the brand new Mothership. Yep, Mothership 11. This is Pat McGrath's Mothership Sunlit Seduction. I was like, what is the name of this? So I know I said that I was going to wait for a sale for this, but there happened to be a 30% off glitch. So I did pick it up during that sale. So I do have it here and I wanted to give you guys a first impressions video on it. Like I typically do, what I'm going to do is give you guys a little bit of product details, pop in some swatches so you can see how they look on my complexion. I am a medium deep skin tone with a yellow golden undertone. And then I'm actually going to do 2 looks today. I didn't want to rush this first impressions video and I wanted to try to do at least 2 looks because that's how you get a better feel for the palette if you use as much shadows as possible. So I'm going to give you guys 2 looks. And then I'm going to end the video with my thoughts, my overall thoughts on the palette. So let's go ahead and dive into some product details. Okay, so on the website it says Mothership 11 Sunlit Seduction tempts you to venture into new realms of makeup artistry with its solar-infused spectrum of seductive shades and versatile finishes. From the gentle allure of floral mattes and blush-toned pinks to the captivating essence of burgundy orchids, this palette caters to looks that range from classy chic to sensually subversive. Experience the gleam of metallics and sparkling astrals, enriched with shimmering pools for radiant and dimensional color. The sumptuously smooth formulas ensure easy application, transforming your eye artistry into tactile indulgence. The palette features standout shades like molten crimson ruby and sparkling platinum mauve plum for eye looks that are simply haute of this world. Embrace the sunlit hues and let your artistry radiate. Okay, so that's that. You know, mother loves her wigs. So just so you guys see, this is the box that the palette comes in. As you know, Pat has really kind of committed to this artistry for all of her motherships going forward. I do think that this is beautiful, but I feel like this is so similar to the last 3 boxes. But now you can't even use the boxes to tell them apart. Before you could tell which mothership was which by the box, but now they're all kind of starting to look the same. Like this looks exactly like Utopian Dream, so it's very hard to tell them apart. Now, the Mothership itself, you guys have seen it already. It's black lacquered. I still have plastic over mine. And then you have the sort of Pat McGrath logo here. And on the back, it's this sort of reflective gold packaging with the Pat McGrath logo. And a little bit of product details, but honestly, most of the product details are on the box. This only tells you where the shadow was made and the shelf life. So it does say that this was made in Italy and has an 18-month shelf life. All of Patricia's motherships are made in Italy. Now, in the box, if you want to find the shade names, they are on this little card. So this is where you can figure out what shade you're using on the eye. I don't find this particularly helpful. I try to ignore this overall, to be quite frank. On the back, like I said, it has the majority of the product details, including all of the ingredients, so you know if something might be sensitive to your eye. So it tells you the ingredients for every single shade in the palette. And lastly, this palette does retail for $128. You all will remember originally the motherships was $125, but everything's gone up, so now it's $128. So you guys have all the product details. Let me open this baby up and show you what it looks like. Da-da-da-da. So it is a 10-pan palette similar to all of our other palettes. You get 3 matte shades, 3 standard metallic / shimmers, and 4 of her astral / special shades. And yes, this is hella pink. It's actually more pink in person than it looks like online. So we were extra bamboozled. Alright, and now let's dive into some swatches. I'll insert some B-roll here so you guys can see what it looks like on my skin tone. The swatches will be on my bare skin, no primer, no nothing, no foundation down. And it will be shot with my iPhone 13 Pro Max outside in just natural sunlight.
It's the break of dawn, I'm not making sense. Talking to the wall, calling it a friend. I was in the clear, but lines got blurry again. It's not very warm when I'm alone in bed, so call me in the morning, sheets over your head. Night got pretty weird with both our cheeks turning red. Yeah, never think before I
Okay, and now that you guys have seen the swatches, let's go ahead and dive into look number 1 and look number 2, and then I'll of course end with my first impressions thoughts. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in with, I guess this is look number 1. And here she is in pristine condition, you guys. Haven't touched it yet. I haven't even swatched this baby yet. Oh my lord. Okay, I'm not going in to learn Patricia's names because y'all know it'd be overly complicated. So I'm not gonna sit here and try to read every single name for you guys. But I will show you the shades so you can see what I'm putting on my eyes. Okay, so of course we're gonna start off with the mattes, and this is the lightest matte in the palette. So I'm gonna dip my brush into that one. And that is going to be our transition shade for this look. I'm using the Ariel A11 brush. And I'm going to just sweep that into the crease as my transition shade.
Never think before I react. Never think before I react. No, it's bad.
This is a beautiful match.
I'm sorry if I...
Now, I think I could say I've never had a Pat McGrath shadow that did not perform well, but something about this matte is, and something about her mothership eyeshadows, just perform and blend a little bit better than everything else. Okay, next up, because I kind of want to see what the difference is between these two shades, because they do look very similar, although this one is definitely more brown, this one is more pink. I'm going to dip into the second matte, and I'm going to put that into the crease right underneath that first shade. And I'm only taking a little bit of this to see what it does. Okay, so it is a little bit deeper, but I think we could have used a different matte there. But I will have to add more of that to really see what it does on its own. And maybe use that as a transition shade in the next look. And of course, we have to go into the deepest shade in the palette using that same brush. I'm going to take that up and I'm going to stamp it into the outer corner here. And yes, I will fully admit I did not use enough of that last shade to get a good sense of the color payout, but I just didn't want to make this overly complicated, so I did not want to add too much just because. But we have good depth with this matte. Of course, it's blending and building like a pat shadow does. So we are really filling out this crease. Give me the crease the outer V, Lord Father. Now, pat shadows definitely have a lot of versatility, so you can actually diffuse this out really well. So what I like to do is I like to just place it where I need it, stamp it in, and then just start blending out. And that way I get the depth where I want it most and a nice gradient everywhere else. Now for the rest of the eye, I don't know what to do. I really don't. They're all so beautiful. I don't want to overdo it, but I definitely want to put this red shade on the eyes. So, let me see if I can find my magic wand thing from Pat McGrath. I know that's not what it's called, but whatever the wand is, I think it's intensifies. I'm gonna try to see if I can find that, see if I can put that on the eye so that the shimmer has something to lay down to, because these astral shades definitely are very flaky. Okay, so I have my Pat McGrath Intensifies wand. I'm gonna have to warm this up on the back of my hand, so I'm gonna try to push a little bit of that forward and then just warm this up so it doesn't drag along the lid as much. Okay, and then I'm just gonna apply that directly. Now, I did put concealer down as primer, so it is disturbing that a little bit, but it's okay. It is very okay. I don't know why it keeps breaking off like this, though. Just doing the most. Okay, I I'm gonna try to do 2 shades. I'm gonna try. So first things first, I'm gonna go in with the red shade. I'm just gonna take my finger and pick that up because again, these shades have a lot of fallout. Ooh. And I'm just gonna plop that into this outer part of the eye here. I wonder. I'm actually gonna do the same on this eye without the intensifiers to see how it sticks down. I'm just hella curious now. So I'm just taking it up on my finger and I'm just plopping it on the lid. This has no intensifiers, just my concealer that I use as eye primer. I sang this song. I had an old time soul. Baby, we were kissing for the whole ride home. It's not terrible. This one definitely has a little bit of extra oomph to it though, I will say that. Now the question is, do we go pink or do we go gold? Actually, I'm gonna throw another contender into this. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the purple instead of the pink or the gold. So here we have the red shade that I just put on. Here's the purple. And I'm gonna plop that into the inner third of the eye. Summer 16, you were all that I want. Remember when we used to have those long talks? Late night and Sunlit, taking long walks. Underneath the beer, you take it all off. Feeling deja vu while I'm kissing you. I could never forget. Now, surprisingly, these shades have less fallout than I expected. That's suspicious. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm going for. I'm gonna go ahead, clean things up, blend things together because this is just a finger application. I'm not obsessed. I'm not feeling that Pat McGrath tingle, I can't lie. But let me go ahead, clean it up and see if the tingle comes because right now I'm just like, huh?
Singing to you like I used to, baby. Look in my eyes and deny that you ever felt love this crazy. Doesn't matter if it's in my bed. Take it to the roof and play pretend. Act like this ain't never gonna end. Remember when we used to have those long talks? Late nights and I'd taking long walks. Underneath the beer, you take it all off. Feeling deja vu while I'm kissing you. I can never forget the summer nights we spent. I had an old time soul.
Okay, so guys, this is the final face. I'm not gonna give you guys my final thoughts because I do want to do another look. This is my first look that I've done with this palette. So I'm gonna do a second one for you guys to see just really quickly in terms of the rest of the eyes because I did go back and try a couple other shades. Let me show y'all what I have, what I did for the waterline and then what I have on the rest of my face. So for the waterline, I did go in with this dark shade here. Then I went in with these 2 standard shimmers. So I took the darker one, I put it here, and then I put the lighter one in here. And then for the inner corner highlight, I used this shade. So for the most part, I've used all of these shades. Definitely not enough in terms of the amount of shimmer, but I will say those standard shimmers, amazeballs. But I did put that down there. So that's what I did in the waterline and for the inner corner highlight. Now for the rest of my face, I went in with my Givenchy Prisme Libre foundation. I'm using my Sephora collection concealer per use. Set that with my Derma Blend setting powder. For the under eyes, wherever I had that concealer, I used my Sephora Micro Smooth to set the rest of my face. For my bronzer, I went in with an oldie but a goodie. I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills powder bronzer in the shade Mahogany. And then I topped that off with my Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. This is in the shade Dark to Deep. And I don't think they make this anymore, but this is such an amazing bronzer. So that is the 2 that I used for my bronzer. Same with my blush. I did do a double combination thing. I've been enjoying kind of like stacking things. So I used this BH Cosmetics flower blush, floral blush. This is in the shade Honolulu. Y'all know BH ain't a thing no more, but that's what I used. And then I went over that with my Bare Minerals Gen Nude Blush. This is in the shade Peachy Keen. This one might still be available. And then for my highlight, which is the final step in today's look, I did actually go in with a Pat McGrath highlighter. So I used the shade Golden Nectar, and I do believe that this is available. So this is what I used as a highlighter and in my brow bone. For my lips, because I know y'all gonna ask, this is actually a new shade. This is the limited edition shade by Lisa Eldridge. It is called Bloom, Velvet Bloom. Really, really pretty. I feel like it pulls a lot pinker on the lips than what it looks like in the tube. But she cute. Lisa has the best lipstick formula, hands down. I do want to try her Velveteen lipsticks. One, because they're cheaper, because her bullets cost about $36. And the liquid ones are about $27, I believe. $27, $28, maybe $29 tops. So it is cheaper to get the liquid one. And I do want to do a comparison of both to see if I like it any differently. Anyways, so this is look number 1. Let's dive into look number 2, and then I'll come back and give you guys my final thoughts. Okay guys, we are back for look number 2, and not gonna lie, I'm not excited. But we just gonna go right in. So instead of starting with the pink today, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the brown shade as my transition color. So this definitely has a little bit more depth than the pink shade, and I use it to brown loosely because it still has very pink undertones. I thought this was gonna be less pink, and then it showed up in person and I was like, oh, okay.
Someday you might dream of me and you'll to wake.
Now I am running a little bit behind today, so I'm trying to keep this nice and quick. And like I said, I'm not very excited doing this look based on the first look that I did. So far I'm not feeling compelled to create more looks with this, which is quite disappointing and not typical for how I work with my Pat McGrath motherships. The other palettes, yeah, sure, but not how motherships, man. Next, I'm taking my Morphe E22, and then I'm going into that deep brown shade. I guess it's more of a maroon than a true brown. Like, all of the shades lead in pink. Every single one. She could have given us a regular brown. Like, come on, Patricia. Anyways, so I'm just stamping that in like I did with the first look. Blending it out. And I know I said that I wasn't going to go into the first matte shade, the lightest pink one, but I think I actually might, to add just a little bit of that in the front of the eye.
Couple months, picked up all your late night calls.
Again, picking that up, stamping it in the outer corner, and then blending it into the inner part of the eye.
Disposable, slide down the door, I second guess. If all this tenderness was even real, I guess that my Achilles heel.
Before we go into shimmers, I am going to moisturize my face because I just realized I forgot to do that, and it's feeling kind of tight. So this is the Super Gel Moisturizer from Face Theory. It's very, very gel-like. I don't know if this is necessarily for my oily girls, but what I will say is that after I do this, I'm going to use my Super Goop Matte Sunscreen as a sunscreen primer duo. Just need a little something right now because I'm feeling hella dry. And like I said, I'm going to go back into the light pink shade. Well, I'm going to go into the light pink shade. That's the lightest matte in the palette. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that to this front part here. And I'm using my B1 brush from Blend Bunny.
And you know the sweetest words to say, up until you put up.
Okay, now it's time for the shimmers. I'm again gonna go back into the Blitz shades. I'm actually gonna start with the gold and then I'm gonna end with the pink. So I am taking up some of the gold. It's really pretty. And I'm gonna just plop that into the center of the eye here. Using my index finger, I'm picking up some of the pink. And I'm going to plop that into the inner parts of the eye, blending it into the first gold shade. Okay, you guys see the vision. I'm gonna go ahead, clean things up, blend everything together, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys this final look and give you guys my overall first impressions thoughts.
Someday you might dream of me and jolt awake, haunted by the what ifs that you threw away.
Okay guys, so this is the final look for today's face. I kept it pretty pink. I'm again wearing the Lisa Eldridge Bloom lipstick with the lip liner. For my foundation, I again went back in with my Givenchy Prisme Libre foundation, and I'm using the Super Goop Matte Sunscreen as my primer, which that was a bit of a struggle because I had a lot of pilling with that for some reason. For my blush, what am I wearing for blush? Oh, for blush, I went in with the Elephant palette from Hourglass. I mixed both of these together. I also, because I wanted a little bit of extra pink, I went in with one of my Tom Ford single blushes. This is an old one. It's called nope, not Disclosure. Wrong one. It's called Flush. So this is an old Tom Ford single blush. And I know I've been using a lot of old products, guys, but like I have it in my collection and I need to use up these things. So for my bronzer, I'm using the Revolution Glow Bronzer. This is in the shade medium. I'm very close to hitting pan on this, so that is hopefully the goal there. And I also use the highlight from that same Elephant palette from, what's her face, from Hourglass. So that's kind of pretty much this look. That's what it is. And for the waterline, just so you know, I did a very similar thing to yesterday. I went back in with the deepest shade and then I used this one in the inner part of the eye. So the deep shade in the outer part, this bronze shade in the inner part of the eye. Okay, let's talk about it. Here are my first impressions thoughts. And you can probably already tell from the sound of my voice, from the look on my face, I am unimpressed. Now, is this bad quality? No. I don't think Pat McGrath has ever really given us poor quality products. I think her quality is always superb. I just think that we expect a certain level of, I don't even know what to call it, from Pat. I think that there is just an experience that we expect to get when we use her products. Now, my biggest issue or sadness with this palette is with the special shades. Something about this formula don't feel right. These special shades are not specialing like they should. And I know that that is not a word, it doesn't exactly make a ton of sense, but they really aren't specialing the way they should. And by that I mean that there's a certain kind of sparkle and feel to a Pat McGrath special shade, and I did not get this with this one at all. And while I think I have a really nice, pretty eye look, this is not an eye look that I could immediately see somebody looking at me like, oh, you got Pat McGrath eyeshadow on, because something about this feels and looks different in my opinion. I feel like the glitter flecks just aren't the same from what I have in my previous motherships. Now, I'm beginning to realize that in the recent releases, she's kind of gone away entirely from her baked formula and she's giving us this formula, but I don't know what this formula is. It feels different from the one even in Mothership 10. It's a little bit on the creamy side, and which I guess is a little bit better in terms of fallout because I don't get as much fallout as the last set of palettes, but I feel like there is a reduction in sparkle and shine, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. This is not Pat McGrath, man. This is not the Pat McGrath special shades that I'm used to, and even yesterday when I did my first look, when it came time to wash my face, my eyes had faded. I have never had a Patricia eyeshadow fade on me ever in my life. So I am standing there in my bathroom getting ready to wash my face off. And I'm like, where is the eyeshadow, Pat? Because longevity has never been an issue for me with the Pat McGrath eyeshadow. Her shadows have always been superb, where they last all day and they look exactly the same way upon application. So I'm very confused by what's happening. I didn't change my technique. I didn't change my base in any special way. I didn't do anything different than what I would typically do when I'm applying shadow. So I don't know why I got that result yesterday. So I was very disappointed then, and going into today's look, I was very disappointed now. Now, the other thing I want to point out is I have two different eyeshadows on this eyelid, and it's very hard for me to tell the difference. The gold pulls very pink, and then I have the pink next to it, so it just kind of all blended together. Like, could you really tell that there are two different eyeshadows on my eye? They kind of look the same, right? So, like, the difference is minuscule in some of the shadows. The the mattes also just like, they're all pink. I thought that these were gonna be way more brown than they actually are. They're pink. They're pink. They're pink. They're pink. They're pink. This is the pinkest palette Pat McGrath could have ever put up. And I know. I knew it was gonna be pink, but I thought it was gonna be a little bit more orange. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like some of these swatches and some of the pictures made it seem like some of these shades were more bronzy and a little bit more orange. Like these two shades, I thought that they would pull a little bit more orange. I thought the gold would be a little bit more orange. Like I at least thought that this one, and these two would definitely pull more neutral brown orange than pink. So, but they're pink. So it is a little bit disappointing. In terms of the mattes, they blend beautifully. They have great depth. You can diffuse them. Pat mattes are always superb, so I have no issues there. Quite frankly, I think that I am more excited by the metallics than I am the special shades, which has never happened for me. I have never sat there and said, oh my gosh, I love the regular shades in Pat's palettes. It's always been the special shades. I am just, I'm a little sad. Because one thing I know is that even when Pat pulls out or gives us a pink palette, I still feel the excitement and the tingle that I get for a Pat McGrath shadow. And I just didn't get that in this one. And this is one of the motherships that I feel like I'm just not going to reach for. It's one that I don't see having a lot of versatility. And just for context, I didn't watch anybody's videos before this, so I didn't see any looks or anything in terms of spoilers of how to use this palette. So this is not one that this is not one that, looking at it, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of very different, very unique looks from it. I feel like it's kind of all going to look the same. Not the exact same, but in the similar vein, which is very different, in my opinion, from Moonlit Seduction, which I felt like had a lot of variety and a lot of variation, a lot of versatility. This one is just not giving me that. So, do I think you should buy this palette? If you're a mothership collector, yes, go ahead, collect your motherships. The quality is not terrible, but it is not mothership quality in my opinion. But it's still a nice palette. If you like pinks, you're gonna love this. I do think I overpaid for this. Even though I got 30% off, I feel like this needed to be 50% off, because this ain't it, Patricia. This ain't it. And if this is where the special shades are going, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I feel like I need to insert some Titanic music, because it's going down. Anyways, that's it from me, guys. I want to know from you guys. I know a bunch of you did pick up this palette on the 30% off glitch. So let me know if you've picked it up, if you've tried it, if you swatched it. What are you feeling? Because I want to know what the feelings are like. Because my feelings are like sad face. So let me know what you're feeling. Don't forget to comment down below. Subscribe on your way out if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you guys so very much for watching. I appreciate you more than you know. And I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.